Franz Kafka is one of the most interesting and thought-provoking writers and thinkers of the 20th century. He was born in Prague in 1883 and lived a life that often felt like it didn't quite fit. Working a regular job during the day and quietly following his passion for writing in his free time, often late at night and away from others. Even though his stories seem strange and dreamlike at first, they dig into something very real and human. The struggle to make sense of life, the need to be seen and understood, and the effort to stay connected in a world that often feels distant and unfeeling. Some of his best-known books include The Trial, The Castle, and The Metamorphosis. Each of these works deals with themes like feeling alone, losing your sense of self, dealing with the pressure of modern life, and trying to survive in systems that seem cold and overwhelming. All of these themes come together in his most well-known and possibly most heartbreaking story, The Metamorphosis. It's not a long story, but it says a lot in just a few pages. And right at the center of it is the character Gregor Samsa. The story opens with Gregor waking up to discover that he has turned into a giant insect. His body is now hard and shell-like, his legs are small and twitchy, and he's unable to speak. But instead of panicking, his first thought is, how am I going to get to work? That's a classic Kafka moment. Something completely unbelievable happens, but the character is more worried about everyday responsibilities than the horror of what's actually happening. It doesn't take long for us to see that Gregor is the one holding his family together financially. He absolutely hates his job, and his boss treats him terribly, but he feels like he has no option. His parents and sister rely on him. But now that he's become a bug, he can't go to work. In fact, he can't even manage to get himself out of bed properly. When he finally opens the door and shows his new form, everyone reacts with shock and fear. His manager runs away, his parents are horrified, and things quickly start to fall apart. Gregor becomes a burden to the family. He's locked in his room, and though his sister brings him food for a while, it's clear she's doing it out of responsibility, not kindness. Bit by bit, the family stops treating him like a person. Even his sister, who was once the most gentle toward him, eventually says, "We need to get rid of it." And notice she doesn't call him him anymore, she calls him it. Gregor ends up dying alone in that same room, and when he dies, no one sheds a tear. His family doesn't grieve. They simply feel relief. The next day, they go out to enjoy the sunshine and talk about starting a new life. It's as if he was never there at all. On the surface, the story might seem weird, or even a little absurd, but underneath all that is a message that hits hard. Kafka is holding up a mirror to us, urging us to take a closer, more honest look at ourselves in the world we live in. Your value shouldn't depend on what you produce, Kafka once wrote. He was a tool of the boss, without brains or backbone, and he was proud of that. In The Metamorphosis, when Gregor wakes up and realizes he's turned into a bug, he doesn't panic about losing his human body. Instead, the first thing on his mind is work. He's worried he'll be late. It's like he hasn't just changed on the outside into a bug, but something deeper has happened. He's gone from being a human being to just being a person who works. Kafka uses Gregor's thoughts to show how Gregor sees himself. He doesn't believe he has value just for being who he is. He thinks his worth comes from what he can do. His job is what gives his life meaning, not his beliefs, not his feelings, and not who he is inside. And it's not only how he sees himself, everyone around him sees him that way too. The second he can't be useful anymore, even his own family starts to treat him like a problem. They're not just shocked because he looks like a bug, they're shocked because he can't support them anymore. But this isn't only Gregor's story, it's also the story of our world today. In the world we live in now, especially under capitalism, people are often judged by what job they have, how much they make, or what they can offer. If you can't earn money or contribute in some way, it's like your value disappears. People stop treating you the same. Kafka is warning us how dangerous this way of thinking can be. He's showing us that tying your whole sense of self-worth to your job isn't just unhealthy, it's not what being human is about. So what can we do instead? Kafka is hinting that our real value should come from who we are, not just from what we do. We shouldn't only see our worth in our work or how much we get done. It should come from what we believe in, from our character, and from how we treat other people. To find that again, we need to slow down and look inside ourselves. Ask yourself, what really matters to me? What kind of person do I want to be? Forget about what the world wants from you for a moment, and focus on what feels true to you. Try writing down the things that are important to you, your core values and the traits that make you unique. Then think about how those things show up in your life. Are you kind? Do you listen to others? Are you there when someone needs you? Because in the end, the people who care about you don't love you for your paycheck or the things you can give them. They love you for how you treat them. What matters most is your time, your presence, and your care. That's the real way to show your worth, not through your work, but through your heart. And that's the first step to not losing who you are. If you let others define you only by what you provide, you'll start to feel unseen, just like Gregor did. But if you stay connected to your true self, you'll remember that you matter, and others will remember it too. Don't let modern life dehumanize you. Kafka once said, "I am a cage, in which the song is held prisoner." Gregor is so wrapped up in his job that nothing else seems to matter. Even after waking up and realizing he's become a bug, his first worry isn't about his new body or how strange this is. It's about how he'll still get to work and keep helping his family. But this isn't just Gregor's struggle. It's a challenge many of us face today. Work has moved to the center of our lives. We let our jobs decide who we are, often forgetting we're more than the way we earn a living. Kafka warns us that this pattern is risky. Little by little, it can drain us and make us feel less than human. That's why he urges us to look beyond our roles and ask, who am I apart from my job? Work is temporary. It can disappear. If your whole sense of self hangs on your job, what happens if that job vanishes? Kafka's point is clear. Don't let modern life shrink you down to just a title. Gregor believed his only worth came from being useful, from earning money. Once he lost that ability, he had nothing to cling to. He didn't know what he liked, what he cared about, or who he was, because his job had swallowed everything else. Many of us can relate. We clock long hours, chase promotions, and tie our self-respect to our achievements. Meanwhile, the things that once made us feel alive are hobbies. Our creativity, our friendships slowly fade into the background. So how can you break that pattern? Start by finding what lights you up inside something that has nothing to do with money or productivity. Ask yourself, what do I love purely for its own sake? What makes me feel most like myself? Those questions can be tough, especially if work has been your main focus for a long time. But they're worth asking. Grab a notebook and jot down every activity that comes to mind. Then narrow it to your 3 favorites, the ones that spark the most joy. Maybe it's writing, painting, hiking, playing guitar, or simply sitting quietly and reading. These things might not seem useful in the usual way, but they remind you that you're human, not a machine. Once you have your 3 activities, make a simple plan. Keep it easy. Aim to do one of them every other day. Start with just an hour each time. The goal isn't perfection, it's enjoyment. As it becomes part of your routine, you can slowly add more time. But the key is that it should feel like something you want to do, not another chore you have to do. This small step is powerful. It's how you start to remember who you are. Modern life can feel crushing. It's easy to get lost in all the demands. Yet when you make space for what brings you pleasure, you reconnect with your real self. Over time, this can shift everything. You'll feel more balanced, more alive, and more in control. You won't feel that your entire identity hangs on your job. Simply put, you'll feel human again. And that, Kafka gently reminds us, is something truly worth fighting for. Don't try to please everyone. As Kafka once said, the truest strength is to stand firm in your authenticity, even if it means standing alone. One of the saddest things about Gregor is that he never asked for anything in return. He worked tirelessly, gave everything he had to his family, and never once spoke up about his own needs. His whole life was focused on making sure everyone else was okay. But the moment he couldn't keep providing, they turned their backs on him. Just like that, he suffered in silence, never talking about his own pain, simply because he was trying so hard to make life easier for everyone else. Gregor turning into a bug is a powerful image. It shows what can happen when someone loses themselves by always putting others first. He believed his value came from what he could do for the people around him. But when he finally needed care, the same people he had looked after didn't care for him in return. Kafka is showing us something important. When your worth depends on keeping others happy. Their love often comes with conditions, and it usually doesn't last. And here's the painful truth. You can't please everyone. So the more you try, the more you lose pieces of who you really are. Stop speaking up because you don't want to upset anyone. You change your beliefs just to fit in. You keep pushing yourself, even when you're exhausted, just to feel like you're enough for people who won't even meet you halfway. And in the end, just like Gregor, you're left feeling invisible and unappreciated, asking yourself why all that effort never seemed to matter. Most of us have felt that at some point doing something not because we want to, but because we're scared of disappointing someone, and that's okay. What really matters is noticing it and choosing to do something about it. Start by learning the difference between being kind and being a people pleaser. Kindness is strong, it respects your boundaries. People pleasing usually comes from fear of being rejected, fear of losing love, fear that if people see the real you, they won't accept you. So ask yourself, where in my life am I giving too much just to feel accepted? If it helps, write it down. It might feel strange, but it's a powerful first step toward getting your self-respect back. Then learn to say no. It might feel small, but it's one of the most powerful tools you have. Every time you say no to something that doesn't feel right, you're saying yes to yourself. You're protecting your energy, your values, and your identity. And slowly, this begins to shift something deep inside. You stop needing approval from everyone. You understand that not everyone has to like you, and the people who really care will actually respect you more when you're true to yourself. This is the third step to holding on to who you are. Stop living for other people and start standing up for yourself. Because no matter how much you give, if it comes from fear or the need to be accepted, it will never feel like enough. The only real way to fill that emptiness is by being honest with yourself. Don't trade your identity for acceptance. Kafka once wrote, "Authenticity is the only currency worth keeping. Trade it not for fleeting approval." One of the saddest parts of the Metamorphosis is this. Gregor never really had a voice, not even before he turned into a bug. Sure, he was a loyal son, a hardworking employee, someone who always tried to do the right thing. But if you stop and ask, who was he really? No one knew. Not even Gregor himself. He was always playing a role, becoming whatever others needed him to be. His family never asked him what he wanted or who he dreamed of being. So when Kafka shows Gregor literally losing his ability to speak after his transformation, it's more than just a physical change, it's a symbol. It's what happens when you spend your whole life hiding behind expectations, never being your true self. And honestly, haven't we all done that at some point? We wear masks. At work, we try to act like the ideal employee. In relationships, we try to be the version of ourselves we think the other person wants. We hold back, tone things down, smooth out the edges, just to be liked or accepted. And over time, that real part of us, the bold, messy, passionate, curious parts, starts to fade away. It's not because it wasn't enough, but because we were scared it wouldn't be welcomed. Kafka is warning us. If you spend your whole life pretending, one day you'll wake up and not even recognize yourself. And when life gets hardened, you'll realize that all the love and approval you worked so hard to get wasn't even meant for the real you. It was meant for the version of you you thought people wanted. So what can you do instead? Start with something small, but honest. Get to know yourself again. Ask, who am I when no one else is watching? Sit with that question. Write about it. Not what sounds impressive, but what feels real. Then look at the parts of yourself you've been hiding to fit in. Do you hold back your opinions just to avoid conflict? Do you downplay your goals to seem more practical? Do you smile when you're hurting just to keep others comfortable? It's okay, we've all been there. But you don't have to stay there. Start small. Share what you really think, even if others don't agree. Show your weirdness, even if it feels a little awkward. Do the things that make you feel alive, even if no one else understands why. That's how you slowly begin to find your voice again. That's how you start to live, not just go through the motions. Kafka's deeper message is this. The real tragedy isn't that Gregor became a buggets, that no one ever knew who he truly was before that happened. Don't let that happen to you. Don't lose yourself just to keep others happy. So the next time you feel that pressure to be someone you're not, think of Gregor. And instead of shrinking, show up as yourself. That's one of the bravest things you can do. Protect your inner world. In our final quote from Kafka for this video, he writes, "Guard the sanctuary of your soul. It is the secret well of your resilience and peace." As Gregor becomes more and more cut off from his family and the world outside, he starts spending all his time in his room. At first, it just feels sad. He's ignored, pushed away, and slowly starts to fade. But Kafka wants us to look deeper. Even though Gregor is being rejected, something inside him stays alive. He's still thinking. He's still feeling. He's still noticing the little things around him. His room turns into more than just a prison. It becomes a safe space. A place where he can hold on to the last pieces of who he really is. That's what Kafka is trying to tell us. No matter what's happening outside, your inner world belongs to you, and that space is sacred. But in today's world, it's easy to forget that. We spend so much time chasing likes, scrolling through content, and trying to keep up. And in all that noise, we lose touch with the part of ourselves that matters most: our thoughts, our emotions, our imagination, and our sense of self. Kafka's message is quiet but powerful. When everything else falls apart, when people leave, when plans fail, the one thing you always have is yourself. And that means you need to protect your inner life like it's something precious, because it is. So how do you protect it? Start by being careful about what you allow into your mind. Not every post, opinion, or news headline deserves your attention. Be selective. Choose people and content that lift you up, not pull you down. If something feels heavy, if someone is always draining you, give yourself permission to walk away. Not everyone deserves a spot in your inner world. Next, create small rituals that help you come back to yourself. It doesn't need to be anything big. Maybe it's a quiet walk without your phone. Maybe it's reading something that inspires you. Or just sitting in silence, letting your thoughts unfold. Go at your own pace. No pressure, no guilt. This is your time to be fully with yourself. Like Gregor had his room, make space in your life that's just for your peace of mind. And here's the surprising part. Even though Gregor was losing touch with the outside world, he actually started becoming more real. He stopped pretending, stopped playing a role. He simply existed as he was. That's the quiet, unexpected beauty in his story. Kafka wants us to remember, even if the world doesn't always understand you, your inner world is still there. It still matters, and it's always worth protecting. So don't just go through life reacting to everything. Don't just survive. Build something inside that no one can take away from you. That's how you stay grounded. That's how you stay you. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out our full Philosophia playlist. And for more videos to help you find success and happiness using beautiful philosophical wisdom, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.